Hello, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Those of you that are returning, welcome. Thank you guys for coming back. Those of you that have just stumbled upon the channel, come on in. Welcome. Okay. So I thought I'd have my coffee and do a live this morning and go over some stuff in the Sebastian Rogers case. Hope you guys are all having a good morning. Oh, let me do one thing real quick before I get started. Sorry, give me 1 second. It is freezing here. It is 14, but it feels like 8. Last night it was 0 degrees and it said, I got a weather station, but it said it was 0 degrees, but it felt like -5 degrees. I'm like, I'm so ready for summer. All right, let me do this real quick. Be right with you guys. Yes, good morning. Good morning. I just got to send something over. Oh, wish I was in Florida. My goodness. It'd be so much better. I'm sick of this weather. All right, let me just. Okay. Had to do that real quick. All right, so let me get back over here. Yes, good morning, everybody. Hit that like button on your way in, please. Oh, it's and driving in this weather too. Like not yesterday, the night before, me and my daughter had to go to the store, and we were coming back, and I have a rear sway bar in my car that's broken. So the ass end of the car it always wants to sway. Well, it must have caught a thing, it's like a thin layer of ice, and the whole car went spinning. We freaking went way over to the other side of the road, came this close to hitting a tree and going over the bank. It was insane. Thank God we were all okay, though. Okay. I'm just over it all. I'm ready for spring. All right, so let's get into this. I want to go over a couple of panels that Chris was on and just go over a few things that he had said. And I also wanted to touch base on the photo. That damn groundhog, it's always 6 more weeks every year. All right. So I want to bring this up real quick. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for coming in. All right, I'm going to explain this as I'm tired of the attacks. Common sense is all it takes to see someone is under investigation over Sebastian's disappearance. A few months ago, legal director Michelle Oswald told Nick Burris and Heather Cohen it was not a criminal investigation. A criminal investigation is used to determine if someone is guilty of a crime. Seth told the news in December he met with Ellie that he had renewed his faith in them. Dog's team also told you guys around that time that Ellie said this was now a criminal investigation. On January 10th, it was confirmed by Ellie to be a criminal investigation. This itself suggests someone is under investigation for Sebastian. Proudfoot's PI has even said he is not working with Ellie on this case. Sebastian goes missing and his mom's locked home to never be found. Equals criminal investigation. The math is very easy to figure out. Also, have you seen Chris Proudfoot ever be this silent? He has never had a problem voicing his opinion in the past, so we have a blabbermouth completely silent and Seth saying that his team meets with Ellie weekly and Ellie has a ton of evidence. We are also told Katie has hired a criminal defense attorney and is no longer talking to Ellie. Justice is coming soon, so you need to be prepared to ask yourself if you're going to sit in the stands and root on Casey Anthony, or are you going to admit that you're a complete idiot in the world? So I want to bring this up. I have said all along that authorities have not ruled out foul play, but they have never called it a criminal investigation, and they still are not. I spoke with legal director Michelle Oswald, and she tells me this wording was an unfortunate mistake. She says Sebastian's case remains an investigation and not a criminal investigation. That, of course, is not to say things won't change depending on any new leads or evidence. No. This is that from that Brandon Carter, Detective Brandon Carter. We can't tell anybody not to say anything. The only thing I can say is this is an ongoing criminal investigation. It's the only case I work to the present day. So, let me go over here. Now, Scott, I'm glad you're in here because maybe you can answer this for me. So in the beginning, they were saying that it was not a criminal investigation. And now the detective is stating it is a criminal investigation. Would it not be right off the bat? Would it not be labeled right off the bat a criminal investigation? I mean, that sounds crazy to me. Because you think that it would be. Wait, can you guys hear me okay? Once the Amber Alert went out, it screamed criminal investigation to me. Yeah. I don't. You would think that it would have been worked as a criminal investigation from the very beginning. That's all I was saying. You would think, anyway. Now, I don't know what's okay. I hope you guys can all hear me. Something's not right. Right. Ambler is always an abduction. I think it should have been, but in the beginning, if they believed Sebastian had walked, they probably would not want to label it as criminal immediately. Right. Unfortunately, that's, I think, where a big mistake was made. But all right, I want to pull this picture up. Now, where is it? I ran this picture through an enhancement last night. Okay. And I know people see two people. I see, and again, I don't know where this photo came from. I couldn't get it out of the lights video, but again, maybe somebody else could have. Oh, God. Give me a second. And I can tell you. There we go. Let me pull it back up. I'll tell you what I see here. Okay. So this is the one that was going around, and they were saying that Katie was here. This was a guy. They were saying this was two people. And then, okay, so we all went over that. But here's what I see. I see a man right here. And to me, it looks like his face is turned towards us. This is his elbow and his hand, right? And it's leaning on something. He's leaning on something. Elbow and hand. Here's his other hand on his hip. Okay. And then his feet down here. His leg is crossed over. No, that's just what I see. Maybe you guys see something else. But I don't know. That's what I see. So that's all I'm going to say on it. Ellie did not follow guidelines from National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I have watched a few cases on Law and Crime, and it took 2 years to arrest the husband of the missing wife. There's no evidence she was killed, but she is missing, and they were charged for murder. The last 2 years that happened. Yeah, sometimes takes a really long time. It feels like, especially when you're waiting for it to happen. It's just absolutely insane to me, but I was saying the same thing when I don't know if you guys followed the Quentin Simon case, but it was so frustrating to watch the mom living her life and partying it up and having a great old time when her son was missing. And look how long it took Ellie to arrest her. It felt like forever. Good morning. But yeah, it just seems like it takes so long. And I understand you have to, because when you do finally arrest them, you want it to stick. So you need enough evidence so it doesn't get thrown out or dismissed. Look at how long it took to arrest and convict Murdaugh. Yeah, I know. It always seems like it takes forever. It's like Casey Anthony. Like, don't even get me started. Because that was awful. And she was, whatever. But that's what I'm saying. So I am hoping that is correct, and that's what they're doing behind the scenes is really collecting everything, getting it all together before they make their arrests. Wow. Oh, that's sad, Nani. And that's what I say. That's what I say is that she, I know, I know. Um, I know. I remember it was a while ago, but they had showed Casey Anthony going into Disneyland and or Disney World, one of them. And I was like, this lady's going to Disney. She did what she did, and here she is going to Disneyland. Her kid will never get to go, but she's going. But yeah, I think that Katie is the worst in my opinion because she is his mother and she was supposed to love and protect him and she just did not do that. And that's the worst thing. I have no sympathy or empathy for a woman that treats her child the way she did. I have no sympathy or empathy for a woman that chose a man over her own flesh and blood, her own son. I just don't. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. And I know we all see things differently, but that's just my personal opinion. What are you talking about? The grand jury for what? What? The grand jury was almost 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure what you're talking about. There's not been a grand jury convened for Sebastian's case. They haven't even arrested anybody. Unless you're thinking of another case. Unless there's something I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm with you guys now. Gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, back to this photo. um, I, to me, and again, this is just my opinion, this looks like somebody that's bent over. And this looks like somebody that just, I only see one other person here. I don't see three people. Um, but yeah, that's exactly what I see. This person looks like a man, but I mean, you can't tell for crying out loud with this picture. It's like, holy crap! It's 2025. This are kind of photos and shit that we're looking at here. It's nuts. But anyways, I see this man again. Here's his elbow, his arm, as he's leaning on this, whatever this is. Here's his other hand on his hip, and you can tell he's leaning, and this leg is crossed over. That's what I see. But again, to each their own. I don't know, Scott. I didn't hear anything about a grand jury, so maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, I don't know. It's so hard for me to wrap my head around. My son was killed, and I would do anything to have him back. And then you have these parents. Well, I'm really sorry, Rhonda, to hear that. That's awful. These parents that could care less about their children. And I know, I know. It's like, dude, don't be a mom. If you don't want to be a mom, don't freaking be a mom. Give your kid to somebody that will love and care for your child. Oh, no, she's saying when they meet to see if they have enough evidence to take it to trial. Well, let's hope so. All right. Let's, yeah, just, you don't got to hurt your child. All right. Let me pull this up here. Now, this is 10 months ago. Search for Sebastian called off due to threats from WSMV4 Nashville.
The United Cajun Navy's search for missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was called off today, and this is due to security concerns. WSMV4 reached out and asked what this meant, and we're told search volunteers had received death threats online and in person. They tell us they have never dealt with these types of threats while helping with the search. Meantime, during a recent interview with legal analyst and TV journalist Nancy Grace, Sebastian's mother and stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot, revealed they've left their home in Hendersonville. Now, Chris said he was going back to work in Memphis, and Katie left to be with him. When Grace asked if she was concerned about not being home while the search is ongoing, Sebastian's mom said she was, and she left because she says her son could be anywhere.
Now, to me, it says a lot that all these people that come in to help find a missing child get attacked and threatened, so much so from online and in real life that they had to pull out and leave. Like, what kind of people are going to attack people? What kind of people are going to send attackers, right, onto people that are literally there trying to help find their child? To me, hey, mom first. To me, that says a crap ton. Not for nothing, but listen, if you have all these people coming to help find your child, aren't you going to be grateful that they are there? Aren't you? Aren't you going to be grateful and thankful that they came to help? Instead, you send people after them. That's super suspicious. Exactly. That's the photo that I think you were talking about. When I ran it through an enhancement, it looks like there's only one person standing there to me, but yeah. Okay, so now I want to get to going over some of these things. But I wanted to play this first. This is just a short. Gotcha. All right, now this was Evil Exists.
They need to step up and say something. There's a lot of talk going around about the woman's voice in the video I'm about to show you. She sounds almost irritated or annoyed by Sebastian. Take a listen and let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
Thursday, boys. Thank you for coming out to celebrate with us today. Drop those chips. All right, it looks like red team, unfortunately, that one was a miss. But blue team, that one was a hit.
I know, it's okay.
Here's our double chip.
Stop.
Wherever the double chip lands, it'll give you twice as many points.
Okay, that's you.
One spot that has two chips stacked on top of each other. If you want to take that top one, you can tuck it in front of the bottom one to level the playing field there.
No. Never. Hey, you have to get the 200 again.
No, she doesn't. She can get whatever.
All right, red team, that double chip.
That gives them 400.
What? I'm taking a video of
No, that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is Chris's sister, correct? Ugh. Like, what is with these people? Like, nobody appreciated this young man for who he was or accepted him for who he was or what he was. And that bothers me. Hey, Kristen. It really does. Because it seems like, who did he have? I mean, because he wasn't with his dad all the time. But it was Sebastian's 15th birthday. You know, it just seems like when he was at his mom's, and again, I can only go based off of everything I've seen and heard. But it just seems like who did he have? I mean, everybody had this issue with him. You know, he didn't get treated the way he should have been treated, in my opinion. So rude. Like, so rude. I would have been like, what is your problem, lady? Holy cow. That's his birthday, and that's how it's his birthday, and that's how you're talking to him. Like, what a D-bag. Give me 1 second, guys. I just gotta grab my coffee. Right. Like, where was his mom? Why wasn't she, why didn't you hear her standing up for her son in that video? Yeah, sister-in-law or not, I'd have been like, don't talk to my son like that. What the hell's the matter with you? All right. No, I've talked about Sebastian and his being given sleeping medication that the night of the 25th. And they've always danced around the question. Nobody's ever given a straight up answer. But his dad did say that they recently, I think it was on Vinny, that they had recently put him on sleep medication, which he didn't understand because Sebastian didn't have a problem when he was sleeping at his house. He didn't have a problem sleeping. So I had mentioned before, did somebody give him some extra sleeping medication that night, right? But just the way they go about answering questions, to me, that says a lot. So I just want to play this clip here. Did Sebastian take medication that night to help him sleep? This is a clip. Let's see.
Tell me, it's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Tell me, did Sebastian take any type of medication before he went to bed, or that would make him sleepy, or if he did take medication, it was just in the morning, Or did he take medication at night before he went to bed?
He did take medication nightly and daily.
Okay. Okay.
Just for HIPAA reasons, we will not disclose
I
what the
understand.
medication is.
So
It's not violating HIPAA for you to say, yeah, he takes sleep medication at night. So him not wanting to answer that question and blaming HIPAA, to me, that gave us the answer, in my opinion. All we're picking up what you're putting down there, guy. Oh, I hadn't heard that about the tea. I haven't heard that. I didn't hear that. Well, welcome. Hope you like and subscribe. Thanks for coming in. It's always bothered me that per Seth, Sebastian never had to wear diapers at Seth's house. Well, thank you for subbing up. Yeah, yeah. That too. It makes you wonder, like, what was going on at his house that he was having trouble sleeping, that he was having accidents at night. You know, I mean, now Chris said, oh, it has to do with his autism and stuff. And, you know, he has bladder problems or whatever. But how come he only seems to have, now, according to his dad, how come he only has them when he's at mom's house and not dad's house? Like, that's the thing. Like, if it truly was that he had bladder issues, then he would have bladder issues at home, at mom's and at dad's. But dad said he didn't have those issues there. So, what do you do with that? Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen that tea in the grocery store. Yep. Chad's got a whole collection of freaking tea. We don't have that one, but yeah. And I know they said that he would have accidents at school and stuff, which is that sucks. That's awful. Like, I just feel bad for that. You know, I feel bad for him in that sense that it's like, geez, the kid couldn't catch a break. It seems like no matter what. All right, now let's go over here. And I had not seen this interview. Oh my God, it's 3 hours. No way. We're gonna have to do this in parts. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, but I did review the first interview with this channel, Duchess. Now again, this is Chris and Katie on the Duchess. And I have not seen this one, so we're gonna go over it live together. And obviously, I'm not gonna be able to play the whole thing because that's a lot of time. But I want to go over this. So, fair rights use. Again, this is full credit goes to Duchess channel. Let's do this. Oh, well, I guess it ain't that long because Chris ain't even in there yet. Let me get rid of this. Hold on, guys. Okay. All right. If you guys are just coming in, please remember to hit that like button for me and sub up if you have not already done so.
Yes, in the chief. Victoria, you can email her.
Yeah, you can email me at Case Crystal, and I'm Case Crystal on Facebook.
A time to join me tonight so that we could just talk about your stepson Sebastian missing and everything that's transpired since our last conversation where you and Katie joined me to talk to me about Sebastian's disappearance. It seems like it's been a rough week.
It's been a rough 21 days and counting.
I know it has. And I just appreciate you taking the time to join us to maybe answer some questions. And I know there's some things that you wanted to clear the air about.
Crystal clear, Chris.
And I appreciate you taking the time to just come over here and do that.
You're welcome.
Just trying to think where I want to start. I know there may be people that are watching or listening to this case. Everyone in the chat, if you would please, if you do have questions, the panel, Crystal, Arctic, and I have some questions and things that we are going to, we're just going to ask Chris. We've seen some people asking questions, we want to ask our own questions. We want to just make sure that things that were asked from the very beginning, to make sure that we've covered all of those things. And this may be answering the question that you have. And once we have went through some of those questions, we will take some questions from the chat. And I just ask that if your question has already been answered by Chris in the live stream, that we may skip over your question, because I don't want to have to make him continue to re-answer the same question, over and over. So we're going to start out with some questions from the panel, and then we will hop over to the chat, and we'll have Chris to see if he'll answer some questions from you guys. So we appreciate everyone for your patience, and we just ask that you show respect, and just, kindness goes a long way, and we appreciate that.
I don't know. Bam.
Let me get over here. I'd made myself a couple of notes. So, I hope Sebastian's mom is okay. I know this has been very difficult for her.
Well, she's right here beside me, so she can hear every single thing.
Hey, Katie, I appreciate you being here and listening. You are in our thoughts and prayers, and I know this must be so very difficult for you. And I'm just praying for your strength.
Thank you.
And that Sebastian will be found soon. We had lots of people donate tonight. So many wonderful, amazing people in this chat. We're going to be able to keep the billboards up until after next Monday. So we've got a whole nother week that we're going to be able to run the billboards, which is amazing.
Well, thank you to everybody that has contributed and been a part of this from the start to current.
Y'all are very much appreciated in the chat. You have to know that it means so much to them, because these billboards, and listen, Chris, also, if there is another location that you and Katie would like to have a billboard, you can that, and which you told me before you didn't think so, but do you think there's any way possible that he could have met a friend online, either at school or at his father's or at your house? Do you think that's possible in any way?
There's always a possibility. That is a question that I can. I'll like. There's always a possibility that a child can do something. Now, from my best recollection, mom's best recollection, and the father's best recollection, not that we know of. Our
Okay.
house, as we've stated, has been. It is strict. It stays locked down with that kind of situation.
We use internet time and gaming as like a positive reinforcement rather than a free access.
Okay.
TBI is
So I'm guessing he didn't barely play at all then, if that's the case.
well, excuse me, not just TBI, but all law enforcement agencies involved are actually anything and everything which way they can. They are doing their best to investigate, look, search, any little thing. And right now, we got no luck.
Okay. Katie, can you walk us through, for anyone that's new to this case that may be just finding out about Sebastian being missing, can you walk us through what happened on Sunday, like before Sebastian, went missing? Can you walk everybody through that and what led up to you finding out that Sebastian was missing?
Yeah. Sunday morning, I'll just start at the morning. Sunday morning, we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us, spaghetti pancakes.
Well, before I play this part, this is one thing that has bothered me from the very beginning. Every time she speaks about Sunday, she talks about what a wonderful day it was, and they went and did all of these fun things, and she got him all the snacks that he wanted, like the colossal popcorn, bowling alley. They did all these things, and she always wants to say, well, it was a great day. It was a great day. Like, that to me, okay, why that day did they plan on having this? Why was she doing this? Why was she giving Sebastian this great last day? And it just ends up happening to be his last day ever seen. Like, come on.
Google it, y'all. We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag because that's something he likes to do. And
And that
we were
too.
laughing.
Brag about what? You just got up. You're having breakfast. What's he bragging about? Always wanted to know that too. But this last day of fun bothers me because it's like, okay, was this a planned thing? Did she go, okay, well, this is going to happen, whatever, this is going to happen. So we're going to have a fun last day together. It's crazy.
Not
that we know of.
Like before Sebastian, went missing. Can you walk everybody through that and what led up to you finding out that Sebastian was missing?
Yeah. Sunday morning, I'll just start at the morning. Sunday morning, we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us, spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all.
Google it, y'all.
We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag because that's something he likes to do. And we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time with that. After breakfast, we got a call to go pick up our niece. And
that's another thing is she talks about going to pick up the niece. And then they went to do all these things. She never mentions the time frame in which, where did the niece go? Because the niece wasn't at Texas, didn't walk into Texas Roadhouse with them. So, and she never mentions dropping the niece back off. So where's that in the timeline?
Go take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up, and we met her mom at BJ's, and we were there with
Oh, okay.
family members. We come home and put our groceries away, and then a little.
See, she didn't say that in the first few interviews that I've heard. And again, for those of you that are just coming in, I have not heard this before. So I'm hearing this right now live with you guys. But every time this woman speaks, a new detail or something else comes to fruition.
A bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And then and this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner, just the two of us, and then come home. He took the trash out because that's his chore. And he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you." And then he said goodnight to his puppies. And he went to bed.
Okay. And
Wait a second.
walk me through.
Love you. And then he said goodnight to us with family members. We come home and put our groceries away. And then a little bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And then and this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner, just the two of us, and then come home. He took the trash out because that's his chore. And he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you."
Yeah, why she talk like that? Like what? Like in a mocking way? Like Chris does the same thing when they're like telling you something that Sebastian said. They do it in this tone. I know that has always bothered me. Like, yeah.
And then he said goodnight to his puppies, and he went to bed.
Okay. And walk me through what happened. You said that you were on a phone call, you were on the couch, and then you went to bed at midnight. Walk me through exactly what transpired during that time before you went to bed at midnight for you.
So, well, my husband, he works out of town a lot. So we normally sit and talk every evening, and I normally fall asleep on him. And he'll tell me, "Wake up, you got to go to bed." And and that was right around midnight. So I got up and I put the puppies up and I went to bed myself at midnight. And I went to sleep, obviously. And then at 6 a.m., I went to wake him up for school, and that's when I couldn't find him. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Tell me, did Sebastian take any type of medication before he went to bed, or that would make him sleepy, or if he did take medication, it was just in the morning, or did he take medication at night before he went to bed?
He did take medication nightly
Okay.
and daily.
Okay.
Just for HIPAA reasons, we will not disclose
I
what the
understand.
medication is.
You're an idiot.
I was just trying to think, if there was something that might have made him sleepy, like if he would have woken up. I just all these different questions that people have
So,
asked. So,
right.
but you don't have to disclose any particular. Nobody needs to know that, specifically. I just wanted to ask medication before he went.
And he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you." And then he said goodnight to his puppies. And he went to bed.
Puppies.
The chat.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
We know that Sebastian was high functioning.
Yes.
Had high
Grafting.
functioning autism. What would you say was strengths and weaknesses that he had? Because no two kids are the same, is why I'm asking.
That is you are nowhere far from the truth on that, because that is so correct.
What?
Sebastian is extremely high functioning. Now, I will say this much: let them ask questions. I mean, we're not hiding anything. I've heard so much negativity that I refuse to answer questions. Let them fly. I mean, I'll
Okay.
be respectful on my responses. I would hope they would be respectful in their questions, but please let them fly. We're good with it.
Okay. I'm just going to Crystal, Arctic, do you have a question that you want to ask before I take a few questions from the chat?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
We know that Sebastian was high functioning, had high functioning autism. What would you say was strengths and weaknesses that he had? Because no two kids are the same, is why I'm asking. What would you say was strengths and weaknesses that he had? Because no two kids are the same, is why I'm asking.
So she asks about what are his strengths and weaknesses. And he what are you laughing at?
You are nowhere far from the truth on that, because that is so correct.
What's funny?
Sebastian is extremely high functioning. His weakness, he does not have a sense of personal space. They've always been working with him about like a 3-foot rule, because he likes to be right up in your face. Hey, whoa.
He deals with some social and emotional dysregulation issues.
Mhm.
Simply put, his emotions or responses don't always appropriately match the situation. And socially he can be somewhat awkward interacting with others because he doesn't always.
Let me see something real quick. Where did that go? Yeah, right here. Do you notice that KP only tells the story up to this point every single interview? To me, she has this script that she goes off of. She it's like, okay, this is the story that I've told every time, so I've always got to tell this story. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right.
Always match, like, I don't know how to say it right. Like, someone will want to talk about one conversation, but if that's not the subject he's fixated on, he will just railroad over that and go right back to what he's.
He likes to be right up in your face. Hey, whoa.
He deals with some social and emotional dysregulation issues.
Mhm.
Simply put, his emotions or responses don't always appropriately match the situation. And socially he can be somewhat awkward interacting with others because he doesn't always match, like, I don't know how to say it right. Like, someone will want to talk about one conversation, but if that's not the subject he's fixated on, he will just railroad over that and go right back to what he's thinking. But at the same time, he's also, for the most part, a pretty happy kid, and he loves being a helper. And
I mean, not for nothing, but with the way he was treated, it's hard to imagine, how happy he could have been, especially having all these issues at home.
and he likes animals, and he's really smart.
He can play in a game of chess, and he's beat grown men in chess.
He actually likes reading occasionally, but only if it's what he wants to read. So like Minecraft books, he loves to read those. Albeit his humor is a little different. He's funny. I prefer, he's silly more than anything.
How is he with strangers?
Depends on the day, to be honest with you. He goes either
A
he's
day.
never met a stranger, all the way to, depending on his mood, he don't want nothing to do with anybody. So it's kind of difficult to answer that question because it varies depending on where he is in the moment.
Okay.
Normally, he's. There's times he's not afraid to talk to people. There's times he is afraid to talk to people. Adults, maybe not so much, but children, he has no problem approaching children and talking.
For the most part.
For the most part, like I said, it just depends on what mood and what day of the week you catch him.
Okay. Artie, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
I just wanted to know if maybe thinking back on it, is there anything you can think of that seemed off or out of the ordinary prior to him going missing that during the night before you noticed he was missing?
I honestly didn't notice anything that was like, oh my God, that's
How's she going to notice when she's on the phone with her husband for 3 freaking hours? Wow.
weird, I mean, we had a really good day. He wasn't in trouble at all. We went to bed on a good note. And I don't know if maybe he just wasn't saying something, but nothing. And I've gone over this so many times. I'm ill.
Seemed off or out of the ordinary prior to him going missing that during the night before you noticed he was missing?
I honestly didn't notice anything that was like, oh my God, that's weird. I mean, we had a really good day. He wasn't in trouble at all. We went to bed on a good note. And I don't know if maybe he just wasn't saying something,
Thank you.
but nothing. And I've gone over this so many times. I'm ill, but I didn't see or notice anything that was like red flag,
Okay.
He didn't have any meltdowns or anything like that that seemed off.
No, he was actually really well behaved that day. He was even keel for the most part all day.
Can I ask the question?
Sure.
Was that unusual for him to
No,
be well behaved all day?
not necessarily. And
Sebastian goes through phases.
he's got streaks where he's great, and then it's like
Goes through remission.
yeah, like he'll screw up and he'll get in trouble, and then he'll be good again, and he'll screw up. I mean, he's like a typical kid, in a sense, but he just has autism, and I mean it's hit or miss.
But like he'll be doing really, really great for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like he'll flip a switch. Sorry. And and then we're working on going to the bathroom, and we're working on manners, and we're working on attitude, and then and then we'll go through that phase, and then we'll go through and he'll flip the switch again, and he's doing really great. He just goes through.
I understand that
It's like
completely. Trust me.
progress, backpedal, but it.
Now, when I saw on social media, some people were talking about Seth had spoken on, I guess it was, maybe it was the Pascal show that he recently spoke on. And he was talking about how at the end of the school year, Sebastian was supposed to come and live with him. And can you tell us anything about that? Is there anything specific to know about that? I think a lot of people have been saying some very interesting things. According to some posts that I saw, apparently it's because Chris, you are that he's scared of you, that he's scared of you, and that
You see that, to me, that's not something you would laugh about, because clearly Chris himself has told us time and time again that he disciplines Sebastian. And he's told us time and time again that he's whacked him, has hit him with a belt, throws his stuff in the trash. Like, of course he's afraid. And Chris's immediate response when that is brought up to him is to laugh. To me, that says a lot.
you're bullying him at home, and and live with him. And can you tell us anything about that? Is there anything specific to know about that? I think a lot of people have been saying some very interesting things. According to some posts that I saw, apparently it's because Chris, you are that he's scared of you. That he's scared of you, and that you're bullying him at home. And I don't like to ask these questions, but I feel like that this needs to be addressed because I just want you to talk to us about why people are saying this, and why people are also putting online that you have domestic violence charges. And I just wanted you to talk to us about that. Whatever you feel like you can tell us, so we can try to reel that in.
Oh no, I'm okay to address every bit of this.
Okay.
So you mentioned Sebastian's afraid of me. Well, that is a loaded question, because somebody who has released some information out there from another show, who I won't put his name out there, allowed somebody to say something. Now, mind you, when you have a teenage child.
Why are we playing this game? Why are we dancing around the question? Was he afraid of you? It's an easy answer. And it's clear to all of us that have heard you speak time and time again.
Or teenage children, all parents know this. Your children are not going to like you, because you're not there to be their best friend. You're there to be a parent. And as parents, you have rules they have to follow. If they don't, there's consequences. Sebastian will say one day he's upset and mad at me for something, and 20 minutes later will run up to me, throw his arms around me, cry, and say, "I'm sorry and I love you." So, when you get in trouble, of course you don't like your parents. He said the exact same things about his father, but that's when you set him down and say, "Look, bud, parents are parents, and we're going to have to do what we have to do. And unfortunately, you're not going to like it, but down the road, when you get older and if you decide to have children, someday you're going to look back and say, man, they were right." So, I mean, people have their opinions, they have their thoughts and their assumptions, and that's fine. I have never once stopped a person from having them. That's why we are people. That's how we are. But knowing the facts are one thing. And then assumptions behind what you want to put out there is something totally different.
Right.
You addressed domestic violence. Okay. There are some folks out there who have decided to go online and go pull some public records, which perfectly okay with. Domestic violence. If I had domestic violence in my background, I wouldn't have certain credentials that I have because you're not
What credentials?
legally allowed to. Dom- That's why we are people. That's how we are. But knowing the facts are one thing. And then assumptions behind what you want to put out there is something totally different.
Right.
You addressed domestic violence. Okay. There are some folks out there who have decided to go online and go pull some public records, which perfectly okay with. Domestic violence. If I had domestic violence in my background, I wouldn't have certain credentials that I have.
First of all, that's not true because years ago, and I want to say, well, I know all states are different too, but years ago, the cops could get called to your house for a DV, and if the woman, or the male, whoever was the victim in that situation, decided not to press charges or not to continue on with it, whatever, then you wouldn't have that on your record. However, I know in New York they changed it a few years back, 2 years, 3 years maybe, and now it's a mandatory. They have to mandatorily, mandatorily. It's mandatory that they take that DV, put it on record, and it's now. I want to, don't quote me on it, but I want to say it's now a guarantee. So it's on your record. Back then, it was a choice for the victim to make.
Because you're not legally allowed to. Domestic violence.
I know what credentials. Crane operator. Can't operate a crane if you've ever beaten your wife or your girlfriend, or what credentials. I mean, come on.
Violence? No. I've had a temporary protective order and I had a no contact order placed against me in New Mexico with my ex-wife. Now, mind you, let me back up and I'll play the whole story for you. Me and my ex-wife, we actually lived here in Tennessee for a little bit. We had a daughter, and at the time, my daughter was only maybe 6 weeks old. An event took place while I was holding my daughter. And when that took place, I filed for an immediate protection order against her. We went to court. The court made their decisions. I gave my daughter back to her mother. And when she received her, she jumped in a truck and flew right back to New Mexico. Got to New Mexico within 2 days of being there. She turned around and filed the exact same thing against me in New Mexico. So everything that people are reading, it's on a court document. But what you don't read is all the things that are happening in the court. You're not reading the transcript. So unfortunately, you don't know the full story. But
Right.
if people want to ask, I'm okay to tell you. You know, yes, I still have a current custody case going on in New Mexico that actually has absolutely zero bearing on this case with Sebastian. I do ask people to refrain from bringing that up because it has no bearing. And all you're going to do is put assumption in the court document. But what you don't read is all the things that are happening in the court. You're not reading the transcript. So unfortunately, you don't know the full story. But
Right.
if people want to ask, I'm okay to tell you.
I mean, can we all talk about the one major red flag that this is his 5th marriage and none of them ended on a positive freaking note? I mean, what are people thinking?
You know, yes, I still have a current custody case going on in New Mexico that actually has absolutely zero bearing on this case with Sebastian. I do.
See, that's where people are wrong. That's where he's wrong, and that's where the other side is wrong. Because you have these CPS cases against you for a reason. For a reason. So it does have a bearing on your missing stepson. It absolutely 100% matters. What goes on in your house matters.
Ask people to refrain from bringing that up because it has no bearing. And all you're going to do is put assumptions, and you're going to allow people to have their speculations and bring out more false information. And what people don't understand is every time somebody puts something out there, or they call into the law enforcement agency and says, the stepfather did it, you need to check the stepfather. Well, now you've just pulled a body away from the investigation because they are mandated to deal with that.
Right.
And I have told everybody from the very beginning, the TBI put a news link out, and in there it does state that all 3 parents have extremely been cooperative and constantly are continuously working with law enforcement. And there's absolutely nothing to show that we are responsible, foul play, any of that nature. People have asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done. All of it has
Yeah, I
been
think
done.
that was one of the questions that I had up next was, have you both taken a polygraph test?
The results are passed.
Have you both taken a polygraph test? The results are passed. I mean, wow. He didn't. And at this time, when this interview or when this panel was happening, he had not taken one. He had not taken one, which is why he couldn't say yes right there. He just said the results are passed. And then we found out that he didn't even freaking take one. And then he wants to go, well, I said, I just answered the question and said yes. I never stated which person had taken one. Oh my God.
Chris, can I ask something? Because I know.
And all you're going to do is put assumptions. into the law enforcement agency and says, the stepfather did it. You need to check the stepfather. Well, now you've just pulled a body away from the investigation because they are mandated to deal with that.
Right.
And I have told everybody from the very beginning, the TBI put a news link out, and in there it does state that all three parents have extremely been cooperative and constantly are continuously working with law enforcement. And there's absolutely nothing to show that we are responsible, foul play, any of that nature. People have asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done. All of it has
Yeah, I
been
think
done.
that was one of the questions that I had up next was, have you both taken a polygraph test?
The results are passed.
Oh boy.
Chris, can I ask something? Because I know that
Yes, ma'am.
people's going to ask it afterwards. The event that happened, was that toward you or by you?
It was toward me.
Okay.
So to give you, I'll go ahead.
Is that toward you?
Sorry.
Asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done. All of it has
Yeah, I
been
think
done.
that was one of the questions that I had up next was, have you both taken a polygraph test?
The results are passed.
Chris, can I ask something? Because I know that
Yes, ma'am.
people's going to ask it afterwards. The event that happened, was that toward you or by you?
The event that happened, was that towards you or by you? What event?
It was toward me.
Okay.
So to give you, I'll go ahead and paint that story very crystal clear.
Oh God.
I was holding my daughter in my left arm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Mind you, she was a little baby. She was up against my chest, cuddled up next to my cheek and my shoulder. My ex-wife accused me of having an affair
Shocker.
with a coworker, who was not much into men. I'll let you go that direction wherever you want to go. Just wasn't into men. And that coworker was my boss at the time. And she didn't like, and I was like, "You're kidding me, right?" And I showed it to her. She's very hot-headed. She didn't like the answer, swore up and down I was, and she connected and slapped me across the left-hand side of my face where I was holding my daughter. If you can do that while a man is holding a child, or a woman is holding a child for that matter, if you can slap that person while they're holding that child, that says something about you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be in that situation. I wouldn't expect any person to be in a situation of that. So I had to do what I had to do based on being a parent, which was best for my child.
Right.
I just knew that in the future that people would be online saying there was an incident and nobody asked what the incident was. You
And I'm
said the
sure,
result,
I'm sure they're
the
going to
results are,
spin it.
yeah, the results of the polygraph was that you passed. Is that both of you passed, or can you say?
Yes.
Lie.
Okay. I think that was my question that was up next was, so you've both taken a polygraph test. That was some of the questions. I see a couple people asking that specifically. Did you take a polygraph test specifically? Chloe and Mo wanted to know specifically, could you elaborate? Did you take one and also pass?
I've got a question, and a lot of people have been asking, Chris, is there any reason why you don't want Sebastian around your daughter?
So I'm going to make this real crystal clear for everybody.
Oh my God. Here we go again.
There's some things that can be spoke of, and there's some things that will not be spoke of. And personal issues inside my family are strictly that. They have no bearing on this investigation. The cops are well aware of everything
Mhm.
involving specifics. And that's quite honestly, I know this is going to sound snarky and rude, but it's really nobody's business as to that because it has no bearing on this case.
Understood. Okay.
And for the record, I will say this, all three parents have an agreement and we all understand this. That can be
Got
said.
it. Got it. Okay. And someone wanted to ask, Angela said, I would like for Chris to clarify what he meant when he said he hasn't seen Sebastian since early February. Are you able to clarify? And if you're not, just state that.
So I cannot give certain details with this investigation, and that's
And now that's come out that he was full of crap every time he said that. The cops never told him, you can't state your whereabouts in the beginning of February. You cannot. I mean, see, all the lies, all the inconsistencies, everything that has changed, the details, everything these two have done, it has been to hinder the truth, to hide the truth, to hinder the investigation, to hide the truth. And it's just unfortunate that that's not enough to get them off the street. I mean, it's so crazy. But to me, if they really cared and they really wanted to find Sebastian and they had nothing to do with it, and they were honestly all in the clear, and they loved they love Sebastian, there would be none of this. They brought everything on themselves by what they have said and done.
kind of one of those things.
Okay.
I wished I could eventually down the road. I'm sure that will allow to come out.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, the answer that I've given is early February was the last time that I saw Sebastian. And no, I was not home when all of this took place. I actually got back to Nashville. And I believe it was later in the afternoon. But I was on the phone with the police for the majority of that day until I physically got here.
A question that I've seen asked, so I figured I wrote it down to ask you. Why was the sheriff's office called and not 911?
So our house is not designated for city limits, which jurisdictions for police are inside city limits. The sheriff's department is what governs our area because we're outside of that. So if you call 911 and you're outside of those areas, it goes to a central point, but then they will turn around and ask your location, and then they redirect you to another dispatcher. If you know who the dispatcher, who your law enforcement agency is that governs your area, I just call them straight. There's no point in wasting time going from one to another to get to what I need when I know exactly who to call.
That's nonsense.
And you guys were on a three-way call because you
Yes.
were not, you were coming from out of town. Is that correct?
We were on a three-way call.
Yeah, that law enforcement was called on a three-way call.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to clarify that. Terry Dean wants to ask you if Sebastian could have been sneaking out prior without y'all knowing.
I'd like to think no.
I would like to say no.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is not Sebastian. He's not a child that just goes outside at any point in time without telling somebody something.
It's somehow that
Um,
zero knowledge.
Yeah, if it had happened, We don't know about it. But our neighborhood is a very small subdivision. It's not huge. And everybody here looks out for everybody. We all watch to make sure everything's kosher in the neighborhood, and nobody has reported anything of that nature.
Okay.
So they say at this point in time that nope, he's never done that before. But then, their the PI that they hired comes out and goes, "Oh yeah, it's normal. Like Sebastian would go out and like hide under the neighbor's car, and it's maybe if they could keep their shit together and get their story straight and not be all wishy-washy, I mean, it's like, good Lord, can you speak without lying?
Crazy Linda asked,
Crazy Linda.
were there any weapons in either homes? And if so, were they all accounted for by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. And
Do you all have camera footage in your home? I've heard people saying that too.
That is some information that we cannot divulge at this time due to the ongoing investigation.
Oh my God. Do y'all have home security footage in your home? Is that not what she just said?
Sure. Everything's kosher in the neighborhood, and nobody has reported anything of that nature.
okay. Crazy Linda asked, were there any weapons in either homes? And if so, were they all accounted for by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. And
Do you all have camera footage in your home? I've heard people saying that too.
In your home.
That is some information that we cannot divulge at this time due to the ongoing investigation.
okay.
Thank you.
I wish we could, but unfortunately we can't.
Did Sebastian have a key to the house? And if he did he take that key with him?
That is another part of an investigation that's ongoing that we cannot answer.
Okay.
I have never heard anybody say that before. That, oh, I can't call 911 because we live out of the city limits. So you have to you call directly to the sheriff's office. It's like, no, that's what 911 does. They get you the help as soon as possible. Like they dispatch the help to your house. You don't have to call and three-way the sheriff's office. What do you think people do that live out in the country and don't live in cities, that they live in the middle of nowhere? They call 911. Like it's just such a load of crap unless you got a friend at the sheriff's office and that's who you had to call that day. Unless you got a buddy. And you don't want the 911 call to be recorded and the tape to be released. That's the only reason why you would not call 911. It's so ridiculous.
Can I ask the question I've seen? Whose idea was it for Sebastian to move in with his bio dad after school was out?
All three parents.
And another thing that I've seen, and I mean, I understand if y'all can't answer, but was there also a restraining order on the biological dad?
That was posted in a Facebook group.
Yes.
That someone sent to me. I think. No, that.
Oh, I wanted to see that. I haven't.
And another thing that I've seen, and I mean, I understand if y'all can't answer, but was there also a restraining order on the biological dad?
That was posted in a Facebook group.
Yes.
That someone sent to me. I think.
Robin Rogers stated, I absolutely believe there is foul play. And let me just say that Chris couldn't charm me. He became verbally abusive toward me in a split second. She also said he was afraid of his stepdad. As of today, nobody has been named a suspect, and there has been cooperation from all parents.
No, that was something else. Let me find it. Someone sent that to me.
It was actually underneath JLR's video. It wasn't in the Facebook group.
Okay, so here's what I will openly say about that.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
That's what somebody posted in the comments.
So what I will say on that is this. People go through divorces, and it is not the best of times. So I was not privy to that kind of information prior to my relationship with my wife. That.
he said pervy, not privy. But yeah, and I always wondered that too. Why he would be the one to call the sheriff's office and why she didn't immediately call 911 instead of getting on the phone with her husband and then having her husband call his buddy at the sheriff's office. I mean, the whole thing is sketchy right from the get-go, right from the start. It's more red flags than China.
That if anything happened, that happened prior to my knowledge. So I cannot and give you an answer of that. But what I can say is, if it is out there, it could be of public knowledge. It could be a public record, but I don't have any knowledge of it.
Okay. That's what I needed to ask on that one. Okay, going back over here to my questions. Guys, please, I appreciate your patience, and they are sending me the questions. So I see that you guys are still posting more questions, and I'm getting to them as fast as I can. So thank you guys for being patient. I do have 4 or 5 more messages that just popped up that said, they want to know that you definitely took a polygraph and passed because it got cut off by a different question and they feel like you did not answer that. So I'm just asking one more time. This is the last time, guys, I'm going to revisit this question.
Okay. For the record.
Mo, he said he passed it, according to Amy.
Well, hold on. Somebody asked the question, was a polygraph taken and has it been passed? Yes. I didn't specify who or when. But what I can tell you, everything has been vetted completely. Polygraphs have come back as passed. So I'm confused as in why they're all wondering if myself, my wife, and the biological father took one. When law enforcement agency has come out and told everybody, even in the TBI news link, if you guys hadn't read that, please go out and read that. That's got a lot of great information in it, especially it's probably the most up-to-date information. But they will even tell you at this point in time, they have no reason to speculate foul play, anything on the parents. Everybody's been extremely cooperative of anything and everything they've asked us.
Okay. And Bobby, why did that happen? Because it's a public post. And these are questions that people are asking. And that is why it's up there. So before we go any further, we'll go back, and this is another, I have had many questions about this, about supposedly Sebastian's grandmother spoke out last night, and he said, Trev apparently quoted her from some comments on a YouTube chat. Is there anything that you want to say about this particular comment? Because I have been messaged multiple times about this. If you want to address it, you don't. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. I just wanted to ask you.
I will address it. I have, like I said, If somebody's refusing to address something that shows suspicion, I have no problems to address this.
Yeah, and so doesn't circling around questions and not giving straight answers. Dingbat.
The grandmother, which is Seth, Robin is the name. She's Seth's biological father's mom. She made her statement on whatever YouTube channel. That's fine.
Thank you, Trev.
What I can say on that is real simple. Like I said earlier in this podcast, kids are going to say things. They're going to get upset because you're a parent and they don't like your answers. Sebastian has said, like I said before, the same thing about his biological father. But when you sit your kids down and you explain to them that being a parent, you have to do things that they don't like, unfortunately, it is what it is. We're not, as parents.
Well, I can tell you, I'm a mother of 4, and I have never once taken a belt to any of my children. I've never whacked my kids. I've never thrown all their stuff in a trash bag and threw it away. I have never done any of those things to my kids. So it's not part of being a parent. Chris's behavior has nothing to do with, it's just how parents have to handle things. It's just how life is. No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, it's how Sebastian's life was with this freaking guy.
Parents, everybody knows we're not to be our child's best friends. We're there to be parents. As a parent, your job in life is to make sure your offspring grow up to be better than we ever have been, or get things better than we ever could get. And that's your legacy. That's our job. And kids don't like it. They're not going to understand because they're still young. Their minds are being molded. But eventually they're going to grow up. And when they have their own kids, they're going to look back and go, man, our parents were right. Because everybody that's an adult that has kids right now, not one person can say, no, he's wrong. Because you've all
saying
done
he's
it.
wrong.
We still do it. And that's just part of it.
Right. And thank you, Trev, for being here. I thought this was a very important, when I saw this, it really kind of shocked me. And I felt like, while you're willing, to answer questions, I thought it was an important question to ask. Trev said, she said Chris verbally abused her, and that's very different than parenting. I just wanted to ask because people have a lot of questions. And so that was, I just wanted to ask you, and it was, no shade to Trev time. He just was posting that that's what happened in the chat, and he did verify that it was her. So, I just wanted to bring it straight to you. The best way to clarify is to ask.
To clear up her statement about me being verbally abusive to her.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, she's not going to tell you the full story. But there's always, remember, 3 sides to the truth: hers, mine, and the truth in itself. So you can figure it out. Me and the grandmother had a conversation, and this all stems back to an incident that a family member did. That as the parents, we had consulted with law enforcement about something. They recommended not doing it. Lo and behold, something happened and something was done again.
See, now, right now, he's referring to. Oh, well, I think he's referring to the incident when Sebastian was 7 or 8. Right? That's what it sounds like to me. But I never heard anybody say before that it was a family member that was involved. I heard him say, I heard Seth saying this 13-year-old kid, but I didn't hear. And this is when Seth said that Chris actually said, listen to Seth's mother. He said, Chris was like, hey, your grandson's not going to say it on here, but yeah.
Just wanted to bring it straight to you. The best way to clarify is to ask.
To clear up her statement about me being verbally abusive to her.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, she's not going to tell you the full story. But there's always, remember, three sides to the truth: hers, mine, and the truth in itself. So you can figure it out. Me and the grandmother had a conversation, and this all stems back to an incident that a family member did, that as the parents, we had consulted with law enforcement about something.
Oh, okay. So he's okay. Well, I guess we'll wait and see in a second. Then I'll clear that up.
They recommended not doing it. Lo and behold, something happened and something was done against what we decided. I reached out to the mom and asked for her help. During
Oh,
that
okay. My
conversation, some
bad.
accusations got flung in my direction and toward my wife, which the mother or the grandmother actually doesn't have the whole story. She has never once sat down with me, my wife, her son, and gotten the full truth on everything. She's only heard one side of the story. And I can promise you, I've got text messages and I'm not afraid to show them. I'm not afraid to screenshot them and let the public see it. Now, I will say, unfortunately, none of this has to do with the investigation of our son. But yes, we had a heated discussion. Yes, I sent her an apology for the heated discussion. And I've never received anything back from the grandmother, which I have always left that door open. In fact, the day when they got into town, I invited them to my house and welcomed them in. They stayed for a couple hours, then they left. I helped them guide them to the direction where they were putting their RV, and have always made it abundantly clear that regardless, say, unfortunately, none of this has to do with the investigation of our son. But yes, we had a heated discussion. Yes, I sent her an apology for the heated discussion. And I've never received anything back from the grandmother, which I have always left that door open. In fact, the day when they got into town, I invited them to my house and welcomed them in. They stayed for a couple hours, then they left. I helped them guide them to the direction where they were putting their RV, and have always made it abundantly clear that regardless, people are going to have their disputes. Doors always open.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Clemenati, yes, asked this several times in chat, so I want to go ahead and address that. Where can locals be looking for Sebastian? Clemenati is local to your area, and she would like to know where you would like for people to be looking for Sebastian so they can be looking there. Is there any areas that you and Katie want to have people that are out there searching, where you want them to be hanging flyers? What can you tell us about that?
Everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I mean, for me to give you a designated area would suspect that we think he's in an area. Well, we don't know. So anywhere and everywhere, people be very vigilant. Please be vigilant. You'd be surprised at how complacent we as society get when we're not focused on things. We're so driven on our day-to-day functions that we forget about things that are going on around us. We're all guilty, myself included. You know, anywhere and everywhere you can look. If there's not a flyer and you can print one off and post it up where you don't see a flyer, please do. I'm speaking for all three parents and all the families. We would greatly appreciate that. We send prayers, our thoughts, and our love out to everyone. I promise you, if there was a way we could make it felt and we could show it, we would.
We appreciate that, and we're happy. We're happy to help in any way that we can to find Sebastian. Ginger Snaps has a question. Can any of Sebastian's school friends drive?
So I think there's a misconception about what he calls friends. He's not in normal classes. He's in like what they call it, Why We Try program. So any kids with IEPs and et cetera, things of that nature, are put into this class where they have 3 or 4 teachers or assistants in the room with a teacher at one given time. And while that goes on, there's not many kids in the class. So if Sebastian says they're a friend and they talk to him, he considers them a friend.
Okay.
But he doesn't have friends like most kids that would go and, hey, I'm going over to Johnny and Susie's house to hang out, because of his social awkwardness.
What a douche. It's funny that when it gets brought up about do any of Sebastian's friends drive, and he laughs and then wants to make it a point to point out to people that he didn't have friends. Like, that is so wow. And she just sits there silent. It makes me sick.
IEPs and et cetera, things of that nature, are put into this class where they have 3 or 4 teachers or assistants in the room with a teacher at one given time. And while that goes on, there's not many kids in the class. So if Sebastian says they're a friend and they talk to him, he considers them a friend.
Okay.
But he doesn't have friends like most kids that would go and, hey, I'm going over to Johnny and Susie's house to hang out, because of his social awkwardness. It's very difficult for him to make friends. And he's actually asked for Christmas. We asked, what do you want for Christmas? I just want friends.
Right.
We're at that level, but no, unfortunately, he does not associate with kids that can drive.
Okay.
So I wished he had a lot of friends, but I think after this,
Sorry. Just wanted to. Oh, Lorraine, thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. That's awesome of you.
and when he comes home, this boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do.
Okay. And Doodlebug Fart says, I wonder if Sebastian knows how to connect his switch to Wi-Fi. Like, had he ever done that before?
No, ma'am, he does not have the ability. We have the Wi-Fi locked down, so you have to request to join it, and then that request has to be approved by us. But his switch actually has parental controls on it set forth by his mom.
Okay. And Vet Girl
Does he have the
RWB.
same rules at his house? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Does he have the same rules at his dad's house?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so. We respect, like, what he does at his dad's house is under his dad's roof. We do stay in communications as far as, like, his behavior. Hey, this is what's going on. This is the punishment he's received. It's up to you if you want to continue with that at your house, vice versa. It's like I said, there's 3 of us, and we are extremely respectful toward one another when it comes to Sebastian. You'd be surprised. It's not like it's a tug of war game. It's very, very cooperative among all 3 parents.
Okay.
Did
Vet Girl.
Sebastian want to live with his dad?
Say again, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Was Sebastian excited about living with his biological dad?
Well, that depends on what day you ask him, to be honest with you. There's days he was and days he wasn't. Like I said, when a kid gets in trouble, I don't like you. Well, I'm sorry. And then an hour later, he, like, nothing happened. So like I said, it's up or down.
Okay.
And I'm seeing this in chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask, is there a particular reason that you laugh before you answer a question? I've got my thoughts on it, but I think it would be better if you just told me.
That's fine. There are some questions that when people ask, I have heard these questions so many times. Um, as much as people are on social media and they read the responses, I still get the same questions. So it's tiresome, but you know what? I told everybody I would answer the questions. So yeah, in a way, it's kind of funny that I keep getting the same questions over and over and over. But like I've told everybody, I respect them. I will answer them.
Okay.
But trust me, by any means, is this fun? No. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy at all.
Artie, do you have a question before I read Vet Girl's next question?
I think he's muted.
Okay. Go Bulldogs. Katie is there with Chris, but if she wants to speak, she will speak. But
Yes,
thank
she
you.
is.
Vet
I
Girl,
do got a question though, about the
wait,
shoes.
I think we have a delay, Crystal,
Sorry.
because it's okay.
I think we do.
Let me ask this question real
How
quick.
many shoes did Sebastian have?
Say it one more time.
How many pairs of shoes did Sebastian have?
Oh, well,
I'm not going to tell you how many shoes he has, but I will say that all of the shoes he has are.
I'm not. See what? I'm not gonna tell you how many pairs of shoes he has. Why? Why is it a secret? And that takes me back to Craddock. Oops. That takes me back to Craddock going, well, his mom said all his shoes are accounted for, but I'm not gonna say that he's barefoot. So I just that's just a dumb thing to not want to answer about is the shoes. I'm not gonna tell you how many pairs of shoes he has. Well, why?
How many pairs of shoes did Sebastian have?
oh, well.
I'm not going to tell you how many shoes he has, but I will say that all of the shoes he has are accounted for.
Did y'all catch Mom?
I
It
didn't
broke
quite
up a little
hear.
bit for me. Did you hear?
Okay. She said that she would not divulge how many pairs of shoes he has, but law enforcement has accounted for every pair of shoes.
I have accounted for all of his shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can Vet Girl says, can you ask what Sebastian's normal school night routine is? Like some kids like to have their shower or a favorite blanket, their favorite pajamas. Please and thanks.
Sure. Sebastian comes home, gets off the school bus, comes in the house, does his chores, completes his.
I mean, not for nothing, but he himself has said he's been gone since the beginning of February. It is now, 21 days since he's been missing. Why is Chris answering this question? How in the hell? You know what I mean? Why is she not speaking up for her son when she's the one home with him every night?
His homework, eats dinner. That time kind of varies. I don't have a set time on that. Bedtime, we normally have it right around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Sebastian gets a shower most of the time before he goes to bed, around 7 o'clock ish.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I said, he's in the bed by 9 o'clock.
And Sebastian didn't have anyone that lived in the area that he hung out with at all that lives near you.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Alicia P, for that question. And then Alan Tank says, what's Sebastian like with people outside the family that he doesn't know? Is he shy with strangers? Is he outgoing?
So that question you asked earlier in the podcast, it depends. Each day it kind of varies. He can be shy. He can be talkative. With most kids, he don't hold back when it comes to kids. He is like, he's got a up close and in your face kind of thing. that he's got to work on. So it kind of makes it difficult. With adults, it depends. There are some days he doesn't even want to talk to family members, and some days he may. It just kind of depends.
Okay, and hang on one second. I'm just getting to the next one. Arctic, did you or Crystal have a question that you wanted to ask?
No, really want to make sure that the audience has a chance to get all their questions in.
Yeah, I'm going through each one of them right now. Some of them have already been asked, so I'm not asking those. Let's see. Olin Tank says, does Katie look in on him if she gets up to use the bathroom or anything in the night usually?
Not normally. I've never really had a whole reason to. I mean, now that he's older, at least. He gets up in the middle of the night and he comes in and gets snacks, and the dogs don't even bark at him because he shushes them and they know him. But no, I've never, since he's gotten older.
Wait a minute. Back up just a second there. What did she say?
No, really want to make sure that the audience has a chance to get all their questions in.
Yeah, I'm going through each one.
She said he comes in to get snacks. So in the middle of the night, he comes in to get snacks. These are her words. And the dogs don't even bark at him. Does it nobody else find that odd, or is that just me?
One of them right now. Some of them have already been asked, so I'm not asking those. Let's see. Olin Tank says, does Katie look in on him if she gets up to use the bathroom or anything in the night usually?
Not normally. I've never really had a whole reason to. I mean, now that he's older, at least. He gets up in the middle of the night and he comes in and gets snacks. And
he gets up in the middle of the night and he comes in and gets snacks. Comes in from where? And then she goes on to say, well, the dogs don't even bark at him because they know him. If he was just walking out of his room, and I mean, I could be reading way too much into this, but she said in the middle of the night, he comes in to get snacks. Not he comes out, right? Because you would come out of your room. But she said he comes in the middle of the night and the dogs don't even bark at him because they know him. That's really interesting to me. That is real interesting to me, because she didn't say he comes out to get snacks in the middle of the night, which you would come out of your room. She said he comes in the middle of the night. Anybody else think that's crazy? Like that is a big deal to me. Hold on a second, guys. That just threw me off for a second. Wait a minute. I gotta hear that again.
Let's see. Olin Tank says, does Katie look in on him if she gets up to use the bathroom or anything in the night usually?
not normally. I've never really had a whole reason to. I mean, now that he's older, at least. He gets up in the middle of the night and he comes in and gets snacks, and the dog.
Oh, that's okay. I need to clip that. I need to write this down. Hold on. I need this timestamp too. Yep. Wow. he comes in to get snacks. Where was he? Did they have him in the garage? Did they have him what? And I mean, where was he coming in from? These people make me sick, for real. I can't even.
Dogs don't even bark at him because he shushes them and they know him. But no, I've never, since he's gotten older, I don't really have a reason to like peek in on him and wake him up.
And does he get up and down normally throughout the night on a regular basis? True Crime Cafe with Dago ask.
It honestly,
Yeah.
he gets up and down at different times, different nights. I mean, not always. I mean, he goes in the kitchen and he'll sneak snacks and sweets and things he knows he's not supposed to be having, like typical kids do. But for the most part, I mean, that may be about it. And then he goes right back to his bedroom.
Okay. Bobby James asks, can Chris comment on why you are threatening lawyers about the bio dad's GoFundMe?
So the conversation of that is not threatening the bio father with attorneys. That conversation that flew out between me, the father was in the house, his sister was on the phone. We asked them to take that down. That goes back to one of the questions as far as one of the things we all agreed not to do.
No, really want to make sure that the audience has a chance to get all their
Shushes them and they know him. But
let's see. All Tank says, does Katie look in on him if she gets up to use the bathroom or anything in the night usually?
not normally. I've never really had a whole reason to. I mean, now that he's older, at least. He gets up in the middle of the night and he comes in and gets snacks and, and the dogs don't even bark at him because he shushes them and they know him. But no, I've never, since he's gotten older, I don't really have a reason to like peek in on him and wake him up.
And does he get up and down normally throughout the night on a regular basis? True Crime Cafe with Dago ask.
It honestly, he gets up and down at different times, different nights. I mean, not always. I mean, he goes in the kitchen and he'll sneak snacks and sweets and things he knows he's not supposed to be having, like typical kids do. But for the most part, I mean, that may be about it. And then he goes right back to his bedroom.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Bobby James asks, can Chris comment on why you are threatening lawyers about the bio dad's GoFundMe?
So the conversation of that is not threatening the bio father with attorneys. That conversation that flew out between me, the father was in the house, his sister was on the phone. We asked them to take that down. That goes back to one of the questions as far as one of the things we all agreed not to do, because even with law enforcement, it says it could portray a bad look. So we all agreed not to do it. She did it anyways. And then we asked her politely to take it down first time. She got nasty with us on the phone. And then I retaliated and I told her, I said, if this causes harm to our son, you can bet I will call an attorney.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Let's see. Was Sebastian playing with one of his devices online or on his Switch before he went to bed? Annabelle Roma asked.
None of his devices are connected to online.
Okay. All right. And Kiko asked, was he having trouble at school with anyone? Or was he being bullied that you're aware of?
Not that we know of. The administrators that work with him are honestly pretty great, and they try to pay attention and be aware, not only for Sebastian, but all of those kids. So they do their best to make sure that everyone's treating them respectfully and vice versa. Not to say that, you know, kids are kids, but for the most part, they feel pretty confident that they do a pretty good job at taking care of the kids.
Okay. And Ginger Snaps wants to know, how long did it take him to take out the trash? Could he have met someone when he was taking out the trash?
Only a couple minutes.
Our driveway is not very long. I think our driveway might be 50 feet, maybe 75 feet long, and that's from front to back.
Okay, and guys, we're approaching midnight, so I'm not going to be able to take very many more questions because I still have a few that I need to get to. So I may not be able to get to all of your questions, but the ones that I've already been submitted from this point on, I'm going to try to get to. I see there's a lot of questions that we've already answered. So,
Chris, has
'cause of
Jordan's devices been took?
Say again, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
The devices in the home, have they all been looked at by law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am, they have. And I believe if they go and look in that TBI news link that I was talking about, it may be listed as Amber Alert updates or something of that nature. There's a section in that news article that does talk about technology, and that should be able to answer those questions. But to answer yours, yes, everything has been thoroughly looked at in our house as well as the father's house, excuse me.
Okay, and where's Summer 1-800-TBI Find ask, did Sebastian have bad meltdowns with any anger? With the meltdowns that that he had recently, being this age now?
I mean, I don't know what you call a bad meltdown. I mean, was he a violent kid? No. Did he cry? Did he have a temper tantrum? Yes.
Okay. And he did take his eyeglasses with him. They were not found, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And True Crime Cafe with Dago said, with all due respect, was he anxious one way or the other to be moving in with his bio dad?
Like I said before, yes. I mean, he was ups and downs about it. There was days he was happy, days he's not. One of the things I'll tell you right now that he doesn't like, his dad's a smoker. You know, he doesn't like that his dad smokes. So, I mean, he's like, no, I don't want to because my dad smokes. But after you talk with him, you know, that's not a valid reason not to be moving in with his father.
Someone asked, Happy Hemp Creations, how do you redirect any meltdowns that he has?
Depends on who he's with. Every parent handles him very much differently.
Sometimes you can just give him a pressure hug with light squeezing and talk to him calmly and calm him down. And other times you can tell him to go to his room because that's his space, and tell him to take 5.
I mean, there's times where me and him go outside and we'll have a discussion. Like, tell me what's on your mind, dude. I give you free reign. Talk to me. Let it out. I don't care what it is. Just say it. If that's what helps you, say it.
Because he doesn't want to say a curse in front of Mama.
Yeah, he that's one thing he's been good about. Is like, look, don't ever do it in front of your mama. That's all I'm asking. But if you and I go out somewhere and you want to do it, I'll give you
Give him
no consequences. I'll give you some time to do your thing. And he does it. He'll cry. He'll get all of his thoughts and his feelings out, and he'll cry, and then he'll give me a big old hug and say, I'm sorry and I love you. We hug it out. I'm like, it's all right, buddy. Trust me. Everybody's got to have an outlet.
what we
Yeah,
tell
and
him. Like, if
unfortunately,
you
it
need to
seems
yell
like
and
Chris's
scream or be
outlet was
angry, just say, I need a minute to do that.
Sebastian was
And then,
Chris's outlet.
whatever you say during that time frame, you don't get in trouble for it. And if you got to curse, you got to curse, but only when you're doing the free time. That way it sets a limitation so that he's not just, free balling all the time with curse words.
When he's with his father that I know of, that we've all discussed, they'll go fishing. They like to do a lot of fishing, and that's where he has his moments with his dad, and they have their discussions. So I mean, like I said, it varies with each parent.
Okay. David Bryant sent a super chat and he has a question, and I'm not sure why this even applies, but I'm going to ask it. David Bryant says, CP said, let questions fly. So, Katie, did you have an active dating profile at the time Sebastian went missing? Any sort of dating profile? I'm not sure.
I don't actually have a problem answering that. I've never had a dating profile.
I hope that helps, David Bryant. And then True Crime Cafe with Dago says, how often does your daughter get to visit Chris? Respectfully, I've seen a lot of comments in this chat tonight saying that you did not want your daughter and Sebastian to be around each other. And I'm just not sure where that's coming from. Can you talk to me about that?
Sure, I got no
Okay.
problem. So I have a
Okay.
parenting plan with my ex-wife. I get her every other year on spring breaks. I get her in the summers.
Not for nothing, but wasn't this question asked in the very beginning? And he was like, I'm not going to talk about any personal things going on in my house.
And I get her, like, we split the Christmas time frame.
Okay.
My parenting plan, is very much like the mom's with her ex-husbands. The only difference between the two is he lives here. So, and we have a great relationship with each other. So it's easy to be like, hey, can I have you this weekend? Sure, man, whatever. It's not like it's turmoil between everybody.
Okay, because I was noticing that there were comments saying that the reason Sebastian was going to live with Seth is because your daughter is coming to move in with you and that you don't want your daughter around Sebastian. And I just wanted to get clarification on that.
Whoever feels or believes, if you've got proof of that, please show it to me. I'll be happy to address it, but I'll tell you right now, I don't have custody of my daughter like that. I wished I did. Sebastian going to his father's has nothing to do with my daughter at all.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. I will say, like, everybody out there, thank you for the questions. I'm glad that we can help clear some of this out. I've told everybody online, like, look, I'm respectful, I'm direct, and I'm brash, but ask a question, I'll get to them and I'll answer them the best of my ability. There are thousands and millions of people, but there's only 3 of us, and we are doing our best to being able to address people as we can.
Okay. And the reason I was asking, because Alicia P. had made the comment, the problem is you're seeking custody of your daughter. And if you don't want Sebastian around your daughter, just how was that going to work, Chris? Because now Sebastian is missing. That's why people want to know. So that was why I asked.
No, I understand. And I can see where people's correlations are trying to put 1 and 2 together. Unfortunately, it's 2 different puzzles.
Okay.
My case with my ex-wife, that is a whole totally different situation. At some point, eventually, I can let that out. Right now, that's still in an ongoing court battle. And to be honest with y'all, because of all of this with Sebastian, it has actually caused some issues in that court case, which unfortunately it is what it is. and hopefully I'll have some good news, and I'll let you guys know. Hopefully something here soon.
Okay.
Chris, can it be verified that you were in Memphis?
Yes, very much. Very much.
What is law enforcement allowing you all to do to look for Sebastian?
We're doing everything we can.
Anything we can, as long as it does not hinder the investigation. So if people want more specifics, we've got flyers that are going out anywhere and everywhere we can put them out. We actually were able to get some like yard signs, kind of like the signs that go in the yard for kind of like real estate agents. We got some of those missing. We got those put out, spread through all out the state. Some in different states itself: Alabama, Mississippi, few in Kentucky, all the way up to Louisville. I believe we even got some down in Georgia.
Flyers that we've put out.
Flyers. We got flyers that travel throughout various states. Billboards throughout the entire state of Tennessee. I can tell you that I've seen 7 from Nashville to Memphis that I could confirm.
But we're also out and about.
But we do have, we are like feet on the ground looking. We're constantly trying to think of different ways. We're reaching out in various positions, and people might be able to bring something to the table that we don't know about. There are some companies out there that are amazing.
And foundations that work with missing children. We've been reaching out to them as well.
Yeah, I know that you've been working with the Aware Foundation. I do a lot of work with them. So,
Well, them and EquiSearch, the National Center, the Class Foundation, just to name a couple.
yeah, the Class Foundation is a great foundation. I did want to let you know that if you reach out to Lamar Media, they're a billboard company, and sometimes they will provide free billboards for children that are missing too, if you reach out to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll definitely get that looked into.
And I did send you that link, Katie, but I will send it again to you after the live stream to make sure that you have it.
Individually, what do you all think should happen is to the person if somebody abducted Sebastian?
That is not for us to determine. That is, if somebody has Sebastian, all I'm going to say is that is nothing that we want to be a part of until that is legal. That is law enforcement agency. That has nothing to do with us. We just
They go to jail, so I don't.
Mom's saying she better hope they go to jail.
Well, I will say what I think should happen. I think that their ass needs to be passed around the jail like a goddamn honey bun.
Well, I mean, trust me, I have my own personal opinions, but
All I have to say is they better pray they go to jail before I get my hands on them if I find out someone's hurt my baby.
all I'm going to say is we have a legal system, and let them go through that aspect of it. And in the end, karma has a name. It will come around and show its face. And eventually they will have to answer for what they've done.
TrueCom Cafe with Dago said, are there any abandoned or empty homes in your area close to you?
There's a construction, another subdivision that's building right next door to our subdivision. All of those houses and everything over there have been thoroughly searched. I couldn't tell you how many times over. Our entire subdivision has been scoured. Our neighbors, everybody around us has opened their homes willingly and worked with law enforcement. So, I mean, barns, everything got checked.
I did have one. I did have one question. I saw where a dog had tracked Sebastian scent to a construction site. Have they dug that site up to see if there was any sign of Sebastian there?
The law enforcement and every search agency and everybody that's been involved has scoured that place up and down, in and out. There was a pond that was mentioned, a retention pond. It was only knee deep. They did drain it, and they have found nothing.
That reminds me of another question. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I know you've already answered that they took your devices. The computer and stuff that Sebastian used at his biological dad's, did they take that as well?
Yes, ma'am. Everything has been completely between both households. Everything has been extremely thoroughly scanned, reviewed, everything.
Okay, well, that's good to know. They took the devices from his bio dad's house too.
And if they want to come back and get more devices, we, like I said, we've opened this house up to everything. If they want it, they come and get it. There is no hesitations, and off they go.
Okay, and you and Katie have been out to do some searches yourself and hang up flyers. Is that true? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we have. We've gone out numerous places and hung up flyers. We've gotten with motorcycle chapters and groups and gotten them on board to help us. We've gone from various cities to cities. I personally have gone from Nashville to Memphis and into Mississippi and back.
And did they also take the devices from the school as well that Sebastian may have used when you said they took all the devices from your house and from the bio dads? Did they also take the school devices as well to look at?
Sebastian didn't have devices that he had at school. But anything and everything, if he had something, has already been scanned and thoroughly searched. And like I said, if you refer back to that TBI news link and the technology proportion, I believe all of that will answer all those questions.
Okay. All right. And Karen S. said, your dogs barked during your first TV interview. Wouldn't they have barked when Sebastian walked out the door?
No, because they know Sebastian. When they barked in the first interview,
Because a stranger was in the
a
house.
stranger was in the house.
They've been sitting right here the entire time.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there was, they had asked you if there was any flashlights that were missing, and that prompted you to go look. Tell me about that. There were some questions about the flashlight, so I just wanted you guys to reiterate that.
Right. So Sebastian had it's about a little 3-inch. If you think about the little keychain flashlights, that used to find at vendor tables they give out for free, cheapies. It was something that he picked up at one of the local festivals, and so right now we still to this date cannot find it. So we are assuming that he took it with him because it cannot be found.
Okay. And how often does law enforcement update you guys?
Very regularly.
Okay. And Chris Black says, what about the initial press release where it was said that Sebastian liked to stay up late?
I don't remember hearing that, but
I don't either, but I just wanted to put that out there because I thought maybe I missed something.
well, I mean, if he, like I said, we said earlier, he's a typical teenager, so he will get up in the middle of the night. It's hard to say. I personally don't remember that being said in the interview, and I'm sorry. And I'm not doubting it, but I mean, he's a typical teenager. He'd get up, go get snacks, and go back to his room. So
He did regularly get up at night.
Mom's saying he regularly got up at night.
Where Summer wanted to know, what's Sebastian's favorite food, drink? Is it ice cream, chips?
Anything with sugar in it.
Anything with sugar.
Favorite drink is probably a Yoo-hoo.
No, he take chocolate milk over Yoo-hoo.
Oh, well, okay. Well, chocolate drink, chocolate milk.
As long as it's not the fat-free chocolate milk that the school switched to, because he's really upset that the school switched the chocolate milk to fat-free and now he doesn't like it.
Who did Sebastian love the most out of everyone?
That's a weird question.
Okay. I don't know how you want to how I'd answer that.
Me one day.
I mean,
this,
he
one
may
day
not have had.
that. 5 minutes later. I mean, it just depends on when you ask him.
I mean, if I let him do what if I take him and go do something cool, oh, I'm the hero, but when I'm getting on to him, mom's the hero. When dad takes him fishing, dad's the hero. So, I mean, it's, he's got 3 parents that love him equally.
He's loved and loves all his parents. But we all have our moments when we're not his favorite too. I mean, he's a kid.
And True Crime Cafe with Dago
Right.
says,
No,
has
he rarely gets
anyone
up.
else in the family ever threatened to have Sebastian removed or anything like that?
No.
Okay. And does loud noises or certain smells bother him? Just curious, if law enforcement approached him with sirens, will he run or melt down?
He doesn't like loud noises, but they've known about that from
Sorry.
the beginning. So, like, if it's a song he likes, he can turn the volume up, but like fireworks, he can't stand that kind of noise. So, he does have a sensitivity to sudden and loud noises mostly.
Okay. And it said that he likes to hide in small places. Small places, can you give me an example of like what, where, like how small? Can you elaborate on that for us?
So he has a closet in his bedroom. And I mean, it's not a small closet, it's a good sized closet. He will get over and tuck into a corner in his closet
And play with his toys.
when he's playing with his toys or he's doing something he knows he's not supposed to.
There's always a pile of Legos in the corner.
Wait a minute. Let me replay that just real quick.
Pile of Legos in the corner.
Likes to hide in small places. Small places, can you give me an example of like what, where, like how small? Can you elaborate on that for us?
So he has a closet in his bedroom. And I mean, it's not a small closet, it's a good sized closet. He will get over and tuck into a corner in his closet
And play with his toys.
when he's playing with his toys or he's doing something he knows he's not supposed to.
He'll go tuck in the corner of his closet when he's playing with his toys or doing something that he knows he's not supposed to. Interesting. I mean, that's interesting. The question I have now is, was it Sebastian's choice to be in that closet? Or was he in that closet because he did something that he wasn't supposed to do?
There's always a pile of Legos in the corner.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this boy was going into a 2x2x2 space and hiding. I mean, he'd like to be in a secluded area.
Okay. Let's see. Beautiful Sunflower says, he said earlier he had his reason and they all agreed it was best that Sebastian not be around his daughter, and now he says that wasn't the issue. I'm confused by this statement. I guess I must have missed a part of that.
Well, to clarify what he said that he didn't have custody of his daughter, so that wasn't going to be an issue in regards to Sebastian going to live with his dad. That's not the reason why Sebastian was going to live with his dad, was so that his daughter could come and live with them.
Right. I guess I'm confused by some of these questions because I feel like it's, been answered. Let me see here. Some of these questions we have already discussed.
It was his safe space.
I can say this much. There are some screen names that I'm going to say sound familiar, and I'm not going to swear on it. They sound very familiar, of people I've addressed on Facebook.
Okay.
The sunflower one, I'm not going to say, I'm not swearing 1,000% on this, but I believe I've chatted with her, and
Okay.
she asked me why I will not go and talk to JLR. First off, if this is the same lady that I've
Okay.
addressed, I am not going to people to go to a YouTube channel for somebody to make some money on, or I'm not seeking them out. If they want to talk to me, they know how to get in touch with me, just like everybody else.
Here she is, right
Our,
here.
our ultimate goal in the end is to bring our son home.
Thank you for clarifying that, beautiful sunflower. She said, I'm speaking of prior to his second time answering that question. He changed the answer, but it's okay. I appreciate you explaining that to me. I just didn't want to mess that up. However you were wording that question, I wanted to make sure I was being clear about what I was asking. And by the way, guys, at midnight, I cut the questions off because I don't want to keep them here all night. So, but the questions that were submitted before that, we're going to wrap those up. And if Chris is willing, we can always come back and do a part 2 if there's other questions that you feel like didn't get answered.
Dutchie,
Yes, ma'am.
you got drugged through the mud for this question, so I'm going to ask it.
Okay.
How long have you and Katie known each other?
So my question to whoever's asking that is, what does that have to do with the investigation of our son?
Why don't you just answer the question?
There you go. I did get people came for me because I didn't allow somebody to ask that question because I didn't think it was pertinent to Sebastian being missing. But
Well, I mean, it really has no pertinent to the investigation or the fact that our son is missing. But like I said, I'm respectful, I'm brash, and I'm direct to the point. To answer that person's question, I've been in Sebastian's life, half of his life. Sebastian's 15.
Yeah.
right. I just appreciate you being willing to talk with us and answer these questions. Now we've talked about the video. I just have to ask, did you guys happen to see the interview on the behavioral panel where they took a look at your and Katie's interview on the news?
I have not. I believe the mom
Okay.
has made some views of it. I personally have not.
Watched
Okay.
it all. I haven't been online very much.
I
I
understand.
think since that has been out there, we really haven't done a lot of viewing of kind of that stuff. We've been out there busy doing flyers, posters, signs. I mean, just, wow. But yeah.
Okay. And you said that he couldn't have gone out a window, that all of that was checked, and it did not appear that he had gone out a window. And do you guys have a lock on your refrigerator? I just wanted to put that to rest.
On the fridge.
Oh, like on the refrigerator?
Yep. That's a
No.
question. Okay.
No. I mean, there's an alarm on the refrigerator when you leave the door open.
Yeah, I have one of those too. That dings when you don't shut it all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it looks like there's a couple more questions. Some of the questions that are being asked are actually questions that we answered previously in the live stream. We did ask Chris a whole set of questions, and I just invite people to please.
Day 1, I knew of 5 dogs. By day 8, we had dogs from across the country coming in from North and South Carolina, Kentucky, all over the place. So I don't know how many dogs, but the scent was picked up. It does go into the construction site, and then it disappears. So they don't actually know what happens. They just disappears.
Okay. If there was anything that you could say to Sebastian, or if there is someone out there who is with Sebastian, is there anything that you would want to say to them right now?
You mean if someone has my son?
Keep it PG.
I would say that this boy is loved and that he has a caring and loving home and that he belongs with us, with his family, with his parents. And that I'm never going to stop looking for him and I'm never going to stop until we're able to bring him home.
For myself, Sebastian, we miss you. All three of your parents do. We all want you back home. As soon as you can, come home. If somebody has him, please return him. Don't hurt him. But we do want our son back. Please.
Where Summer said maybe someone's seen him playing outside. If he played outside, that's why I want to know if he played outside. Maybe someone's seen him.
Sebastian wasn't very much, like, he didn't go outside very much. Most of the time, all the neighbors will tell you if they saw him, he was taking the trash out. He may have cut the grass. Last summer, he cut the grass every so often, but we were always home. But he's not really the I'm going to go outside just to go outside kind of kid.
He prefers to play inside.
Well, he prefers inside and playgrounds.
Yeah, he does love playgrounds.
Catherine, I don't see any comments being deleted. We're just not taking any more questions after midnight. I don't really see anyone that's been blocked or anything. But if you have a problem, you can always send me an email at duchessforthemissing@gmail.com and let me know.
I've got to address this. I have not heard this family one time say that he was put outside in the dark as a punishment.
Oh God, no, never.
Wait, somebody is saying that we would put our son outside in the dark as punishment?
Yeah, it was saying, so why put him outside in the dark as punishment? I've not heard that said. Sometimes when things are said like that, that's how speculation and rumors get started online. I've not heard him say that.
Who would do that?
Wow.
That is very
Maybe the same
interesting.
people
Hey,
that
Josh, with the lab, thank you for being here. If there was a comment deleted, it may be because we asked for people not to discuss other creators in the chat. So if someone has mentioned another creator, we asked people not to discuss other creators in the live stream. So that comment may have been removed, but no one has been blocked.
Well, I believe
that I can tell. So,
I believe looking at a comment here, Michelle Macklin and Beautiful Sunflower have got some comments up here saying that I brought up another group comment, which I did. Something that was in Trevor's and something about JLR. I did bring those up. So if I violated those rules, then I apologize. That was not, but I was just stating what I have seen that's out there and what has been brought to my
and you're
attention.
fine. And listen, if you want to talk to JLR, that is your prerogative. And if you don't want to talk to him, you're not required to. You don't have to be pressured into doing anything that you don't want to. If he reached out to you and you didn't respond to him, I mean, that's a personal decision for you to make. And I don't really have any particular stance on it. You're free to discuss with anybody that you feel like is going to help get the information out about your son. And that's why we're here, is to talk about Sebastian and to help get his information out there. We want to stick to the factual information. because I don't think discussing things about your previous relationship or making false accusations or just making assumptions that there aren't any facts to stand behind is helping to find Sebastian. When law enforcement tells me that somebody is a suspect or they give us more evidence to go on, then that's what I'm waiting for to happen.
If,
And
if
everybody has the right to their own opinion, and everyone's welcome to share their opinion as long as they're respectful. And that's all that I ask here on my channel. And the mods have their explicit rules and they know what to do, and and that's it. So
if you don't mind, if I could just say something,
sure.
Everybody out there, they've all got their assumptions and their accusations and things of that nature. If you have proof, bring it to my attention. Show it to me. Please. I mean, and like I said, I'm direct, I'm brash, but I'm respectful at the same time. It's not about biting people's heads off. What I will say that I don't appreciate is how folks out there want to drag in personal family business amongst all three parents, their side of the family, my side of the family. That has no bearing on our son. We're a family. It's big. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have some dislikes. Every family out there is got the same, working through them and becoming stronger as a family. That's what makes a family a family.
Tuh.
I don't mind people have their opinions. I don't mind their assumptions. Respectful. I'm going to give you the respect. In the end result for every bit of this is the exact same. To bring our son home safe and sound. And that's all we're asking. We love y'all. We pray for y'all. We got thoughts. Even if you don't like us, trust me, we still got love for you. And sometimes your questions may sound far-fetched, but believe it or not, it might be something that we could look at and say, hey, what about this? But it's not going on deaf ears. I promise y'all.
I did see a question just now that I was actually on my list to ask you, and it was when I had asked about what Sebastian was wearing, because people were saying, why are you just now saying that it's a long sleeve black t-shirt and not a black sweatshirt? And you guys had explained to me how that transpired and it didn't get changed. You had explained to them this is what he was wearing, but when they made the flyer, they put out the incorrect information, and that you had asked them to update it, but they didn't immediately. And we really just want to find answers, and we really just want to find Sebastian. And this channel is just a place for family members to be able to share any information, to clear up misinformation, and to get out the information to help bring their missing child or their missing loved one home. And I appreciate you being here. You have so many people that.
Okay. So I'm going to end that one there. Yeah. It's extremely frustrating listening to Chris go on and on and on. He talks about things and he supposedly wasn't there. He's been caught lying and manipulating multiple times. Katie, for the most part, sits there and doesn't say a word. And it's extremely frustrating as a parent to watch these two and what they do and how they act and what they say. It's absolutely insane. But there is another panel that Chris was on that I want to go over, but I'm not going to do that right now. This is like the longest I've ever been on here. I apologize because that's super, super long, but I had never heard that before. And knowing that the person whose panel they were on is her mom is friends with CP's mom is very apparent during that interview, if you will. I can say that. But yeah, so I will be back on later on tonight because there's more things that I want to go over. And there's actually some more things that I want to bring up. But I'm going to end this one here. I do have stuff that I have to get done today. We got a school and I got a bunch of stuff to do. So let me hear your thoughts all down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you have not already done so. Consider becoming a member of the family. Join the CNY family. Become a member. And if you want to do anything else, you can donate directly to the channel. The links are all down in the description. And they're also in the chat. So I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light, and I will see you next time. Kristen, thank you. Mods, chat, thank you guys. I appreciate you all being here. And yes, Lori, thank you so much for the donation. That was very nice of you. Very appreciated.